Hi, everyone, and welcome to Software Success. I'm Ashley Jones, and I'll be guiding you through a software lesson today. And you guys that have joined me know exactly what we go over here in our Software Success lesson. But if you're new to Software Success, this is the location where we talk all things software. So each one of these lessons on the first and the third Tuesday of each month, we go over a topic and create something in your software so you can learn to use it. So I love my software and I use it every single day. Sometimes I use it for things that are even not embroidery. So like my cutting machine, or either using it just for design purposes to help me figure out a project. And so I use it all the time, and I want you to love your software and find it as easy to use as I do. So I try my best to go over fun projects, but teach you new techniques in your software every single week. So thank you for joining. If you are new here, we're glad to have you. But I'm already seeing some names of some people that I recognize. So we'll just say hi to everyone and give everybody a few minutes to join. So 2 weeks ago, I think it was, yes, 2 weeks ago. So I missed you guys because I actually had laryngitis. So I missed being here with you, but the topic that I was going to go over last week, we're transferring to this week, and I'll share that with you in just a bit. So you didn't miss anything while I was out. So, and hey, Rita is joining us, and I know Rita is a MyLace Maker user. So thanks for being here, Rita. Always good to see what you're doing and what you're stitching. So, Eileen, thanks for being here. So in sunny Maryland. So Connie, thanks for being here as well. So Dina, thanks for being here. I always love seeing you here as well too. Creative Appliques, you guys know Dawn from Creative Appliques. So looks like she's getting a lot of snow tomorrow. So she's going to be sewing and embroidering, I bet. So, and then hi, Laura. Good to have you here. Hello, Shayna, my friend Shayna from Texas. Good to see you. Harriet Ann Palmer. So thanks for being here. She's my neighbor to the north. Cindy Clark, good to see you as well. Judy Rhodes, I'm glad to have you here from Harrisburg. So lots of people joining, lots of names that I recognize, some that I feel like are new. Marianne, always good to see you as well. You guys know Tammy Madden. She's part of our education team and one of our dime experts. So Bet, good to see you. Linda Johnston and Nini. Thanks for being here, Nini from Ohio. So lots of people joining. And so I think most everybody is here now. So we'll go ahead and talk about our topic. So last year in 2024, I asked for suggestions of things that you guys would like to learn. And I read those suggestions, and this was actually one of them. So at a request from a viewer, they asked about working with mixed media. So creating designs for mixed media. And for this, I chose HTV and mylar for this mixed media because, believe it or not, they have a little bit of similarities. But I'm going to talk about the differences in the design as well. And then we actually had an update, a recent update to our embroidery tool shed program. And so I was going to just share with you guys what changed there. It's a very minor change, but it is something that's extremely helpful. And it was also a request from all of you guys that our team took to heart and made happen for you. So we'll talk about that as well. So mixed media, again, we're going to be talking about using HTV and mylar in your embroidery. I'm going to talk about two different types of designs to use with those types of materials. And then we'll talk about creating one from scratch, also depending on what piece of software that you guys have. So let's start by the what's new and what's updated before we go into the topic. So I'm going to go right over into my software program and then show you the thing that changed with the latest version was under your help menu. you now have this option called supplemental, install supplemental files. And you probably also saw as well that when you installed your software the first time, either last week or not for the first time, but an update, you probably saw that message that there are supplemental files out there and you can download them. Well, this was changed in that update to make the install go quicker. Okay, so now when you install your software, it downloads much quicker and installs the embroidery tool shed really rapidly. And so once you have installed it, the software then checks out on the web if you have the most current version of these supplemental files. And if you do, then you don't have to download again. But if you don't have the current version, it then will download at your request when you click here or you click the OK. It'll download the latest ones and then install those for you. So it depends on if you already have the latest version. So if you have the latest versions, then you'll be done. It'll be a quick install, and then you'll be set to go. But if you don't have the latest version, then you'll need to do that. Now, those supplemental files, those are the files that live in your software in different places. So, and it's based on which ones you own. So all of these different pieces of software over here, like for instance, if I click the SFX, it's got a design library. These are designs that come with that program if you own it. And so those are the types of files that it would not download until it checked to make sure that you have the most current ones. And it also just checks to make sure that you own this program, so it's not downloading things that you don't need. Okay, so that was a major update. That was a request from all of you guys viewers saying that your downloads were taking a very long time. So this was a way to actually help make your downloads go quicker. So the other thing that you probably noticed was a couple of new pieces of software in your library over there. We do have 2 different programs that were added, and we'll talk more about those as the software have been out more and released. And so, but you probably noticed those 2 out there. Any program that you do not own, I'm going to scroll down to one I don't have the check mark next to. If you want to see what that new program is all about, you can click the options here, this ... and then you can click the try right here, and you actually will be put into a demo mode for that exact program. Okay, so you can actually try the programs here, even if you don't already own them. Okay, so let's go back over and talk about what else we saw in an update and where you can find this. So here, this was just kind of a reminder for me to tell you that the supplemental files, that's a new, and at any time you can click help and you can check to make sure you've got the current version. That also makes it easy if we find any errors or bugs in the files. It's easier also for us to upload, correct, and then you just have to download the updated version and don't have to go through and install again. So there are several different reasons that makes this better and easier for us. Okay, and then you can check over here and play around with the new software if you want to see what it's all about. And then in the future, once it's been released a little while, I will do software success on the new released software. Okay, so let me head back over here and show you one more thing on the updates. When you open up your software, you see this page pop up, and if you click the What's New button right here, this will actually take you to a web page and show you what was updated in that software. And right here, it tells you what you'll find in this latest update, that the download time for the updates now has been reduced because the library files called supplemental files have been placed for a separate installation from the web. So if you're ever wondering what was in an update and I haven't yet met you here for software success, you can always check there to find what was in that latest update. So, and then we've already got a couple of questions. So Nini says, is this toolbox? So it's actually Embroidery Tool Shed is Dime's program that houses all of our paid modules. So the Embroidery Toolshed is our free embroidery software that will allow you to resize, rotate, and then kind of do some minor manipulation of your design. And then anytime you purchase a module from Dime that adds additional features to your embroidery toolshed, when you activate it, it then will put those features inside of your embroidery toolshed. So it's embroidery toolshed that holds all of your tools in one location. So really great question, Nini. So, and then Catherine says the fabric files were missing after the install. So yes, so the fabric files are different. And so those files are older files from fabric lines that a lot of people don't use anymore. So we've pulled those out of the install. If you do want those, contact customer service and they can send you out those fabric install files. So reach out to customer service, go to dzgns.com, go to the contact us, and then you can send a request there if you want them. What should be in your fabric files, if I create a little shape here that we can fill in, you should have the libraries for the Caesar HTV and the poly patch twill will be what is installed in your library. So those will be there. If you want anything that was there from the past, you can contact technical support and they can send you those files. So okay, so let's go into the details for our mixed media. Okay, so now I'm gonna talk about using mylar and HTV, we call it, which is heat transfer vinyl. It's short for heat transfer vinyl. And so these are the two types of material that I'm going to show you how we use in our embroidery. So again, like I said, this was a request from a viewer. So it's a topic that I really love, but I wanted to show you both of these because believe it or not, both the mylar and the HTV, the heat transfer vinyl, you do need a design that is somewhat customized for that particular type of material. And so let's compare the two, and then we'll talk about what we need to do different to our design. So the mylar is a thin, translucent, iridescent film. And I misspelled there. It's not a file, it's a film. And so the film, we stitch over top of it so that we can see the sparkle through our embroidery. So the heat transfer vinyl is an opaque film, and we actually stitch it generally in the place of like an applique, so that we can see that shining through our design. Okay, so the heat transfer vinyl, it comes in several different types. There's glitter, and there's one that has a suede texture and then a color changing, like iridescent look to it. Those are the three types that we use in embroidery. Now, there's many other types of HTV, but those are the ones that we use in embroidery. Now, for the application for both of them, you place both of them down before the embroidery. One is in applique, and one you're going to stitch over top of, and we're going to see more of that. And then they both rip away out of your design. So that's where the specialty design comes into place. They both are very durable. You can fuse HTV directly to your project. And then because of the stitch type over the mylar, it's going to be durable because the stitches are going to hold it in. And both of them are washable. So let me show you a couple of examples here under my camera. So when you're stitching with HTV, you can see this is an applique embroidery design. And then I've got three different types of HTV. So this one has kind of a suede texture to it, and it's a Caesar strip flock. And then we've got Aurora and then a glitter here. So not all HTV is suitable for embroidery, and these three types that we have tested and we know work really well with embroidery, okay? And so you can see that this is an applique file, and I just replaced the applique fabric with the HTV, okay? Now, mylar is different because this mylar film it will rip out everywhere. It's not fusible, so you can't bond it to your item. So it needs a type of stitching that is covering the entire mylar. If you don't cover the mylar with a type of fill stitch that's kind of loosely dense, it'll rip out even in between your stitches. Okay, so it's important to make sure that you've got the appropriate type of design for mylar, but it adds like some glisten and some sparkle to your design. And this is what it looks like here. Whereas our HTV here, after I embroidered this, this can potentially rip out from the inside and it rips out from the outside, but you iron it, you can bond it to your item if your item is heat safe. So then now it's a permanent fuse. Okay, so let's see these kind of close up. Okay, so when you're creating a design for HTV, because it's fusible, you can just use a regular applique design if you want, and then bond that HTV once you're done with the embroidery process to the base fabric so that it does not rip out. Okay, if you're not bonding it or you wanted just a little bit of extra security, we have an automatic vinyl applique setting that has this trapping stitch that you can see right here where my cursor's blinking. So that applique design has an additional stitch that we call a trapping stitch to kind of hold that in place. Now, you could do a motif fill all over this. That's perfectly fine, but I really love to see the glittery look, so I don't tend to cover it with the motif fill. And now for a mylar design, I zoomed really far in, and I'll do that in the software too. Because mylar is not fusible and it will rip out of a design, you have to have stitches that completely cover the mylar. And I wouldn't do any more spacing than like maybe like a 1.2 or so millimeters between my stitches. Anything larger than that, you'll be able to pull the mylar right out of the design. So you need good coverage. So most often we use an open stitch that is like a light fill stitch. And you can also use a motif if you put the stitches close together. And we'll see both of those. So let's head over and we'll start with one, and then we'll head to the other for creating those two different types of designs. So okay, so I had just opened this to remind me to show you about the fabric. So the fabric library is whenever you are install the software, you automatically have these, but we used to have this Moda, but it was, you know, it's just older fabric. And so if you want that again, if you liked that, then you can certainly check with customer service. So, okay, so I'm just going to remove this so we can start from scratch. Okay, so let's create our cute little design that we were talking about today. Did you see on the little ad, we had that little carrot design that was the locally grown, I think I had on there. So let's create that design. Okay, so I'm going to go and find a design. Now I could create a design using my artwork tools. And if you have been following along with our software success, I use these a ton. So you certainly could draw your shape, whatever you wanted to create. But anytime I can use something that's built into my software, that's my first option. And so I went to my special FX design. So I just click on the special FX icon over there, and then I click on the designs. And if you don't have this design, you can draw the carrot shape if you want, just by creating a triangle, and I can show you that. Okay, so I used in I want to say it was in the Easter category here. There's this little carrot shape. And this is a fill stitch design. You can see it's already got stitches in there, but because this design is native to our embroidery software, I can actually just change it to a different stitch type. Okay, so I'm going to ungroup this and just select the fill stitch of the carrot. And now if I want to change this to an applique, I can choose, I'm in my Perfect Embroidery Pro, so my effects panel here, I can click to make that an applique. Now, if you have the applique icon on your toolbar, you can just click that icon for applique, like your patch and applique maker has that, your cut and stitch has that. You can just click to convert it to an applique. Now, these little extra stitches here, they were just part of the design that was stitching, a traveling stitch, and I would just delete those because I don't need them, okay? And so now I've got my carrot shape. Now for a uh, design that you're going to use HTV, if you want to add that trapping stitch, so we have a built-in vinyl applique stitch. When I select this and I click apply, you can see that it automatically adds that trapping stitch in there for me right inside of my applique design. Now, that is a feature built into cut and stitch software only. So if you do not own cut and stitch, when you use this applique type drop down, you will not have vinyl as an option. Okay, so you'll just have regular applique as the option. And we're going to talk about how you can create that as well. So let's grab that carrot again, and then I'm going to turn the other one into mylar so that we can kind of see the difference. So I'm going to go back to my special FX and then go to my designs again, and I'll just select another carrot, okay, and just move it off to the side here. And I'm going to ungroup it. And now for this one, what we just did is we clicked to convert that to applique, but I can turn this into a mylar design in just one click by choosing my special FX icon again. And now that I have a design selected, do you see that I have all of these different types of stitches that I can convert to? And mylar fill is one of them. So if I click one time, it will convert that to a mylar embroidery design. Now the same thing applies here. Because I'm actually taking a design and converting it, I see an extra run stitch there. Not everything is so black and white where we always get just one stitch if that's all we want. And so, but you can go in and check to see if that stitch is a separate item here, and then I could just delete it. So if I run down here, so that's of my carrot top. So let's open this one up here. That's for my mylar, and let's see what this one is here. So if I delete that, nope, I've still got that little stitch underneath. Okay, so let's do our slow redraw so we can see what happens. So this is my vinyl applique. Now notice I get placement stitch and a tack down stitch the same exact way I do a regular applique, but I have that extra stitch, that trapping stitch, okay? So then it does the top, and then look right there. It actually, that little run stitch I'm trying to delete actually stitches prior to my mylar placement stitch. That's why that's a different color, so that my machine will stop and let me put my mylar down. So then now I know where I'm looking for that extra little stitch there. Okay, so now I'm going to choose my select tool. I'm going to go over here to my sequence view, and let's just hide everything so that I can get to it. So here is that stitch. So there's my an artwork, and then this little run stitch here, when I click on it, do you see how it highlights that? So then I can just click the delete on my keyboard and it removed it. Okay, so now I've got one vinyl applique and one mylar carrot design. So now, if you do not have SFX software to get this carrot, you could also look in any of your other programs to see if you've got a design. And if you don't, a lot of our embroidery software have these drawing tools. So let's draw a carrot. Okay, I'm going to use the triangle, because this kind of looks like a triangle, right? And make my triangle shape. But I want the top to be rounded. Okay, so when I select it, I need to go over and choose my shape tool. And then for these points, if I click on one and choose right mouse click, I can choose cusp, smooth, or symmetrical. So cusp means that it's going to have two separate Bezier handles that I can adjust separately. And then smooth is going to kind of round it, and symmetrical is going to make sure that my my Bezier handles are symmetric. So I can do like this. So if I do a right mouse click and choose smooth, and then I've gotten something that looks a little bit more like my carrot shape. And then now I'm going to just squish it narrower. Okay, so you can draw a carrot if you don't have one already in your software program. Now for the top, for the satin stitch, you could borrow something from another design. You can draw your little carrot shapes if you want, using those tools. But really what we're talking about today are these two types of stitches. So I want to get into the details for how to create those. But let's turn this into an applique. And then when we come back, we're going to talk about how you can add that additional stitch there if you need to do this manually. Okay, so there we can create our carrot, and we'll do our text too. So I see lots of questions popping up. So let's answer a few questions before we go back over here to our next step of our carrot design. So, all right, so I'm just backing up here to see where I left off. And so, let's see. So Terry said, will OESD vinyl be added to the cut and stitch list options? So I would say probably most likely. So right now we're still in the beginning stages of combining everything, but absolutely that just means that there's a ton of more options for us to choose from. So there'll be lots of new things that you see get added and updated as well. So, and then Laura said, what software are you using today? So Laura, the vinyl applique automatic stitch is from Cut and Stitch. The automatic mylar is from Special Effects, but I'm going to show you how to do it manually too. So if you have the applique feature in your software, I'm going to show you how to create the vinyl applique, and then I'll show you how to create a fill stitch that is open for the mylar. So I'm going to do it manually so that in case you don't have those automatic features, but the two automatic features are from Cut and Stitch is the vinyl applique, and SFX is the auto mylar fill. So, and then I love HTV. What software does this work with? So, Laurie, the software is Embroidery Tool Shed is this program that I'm using, and I'm using some features that are combined from several of our programs, Cut and Stitch and from Special FX, but I'm also going to show you how to do some things manually as well in case you don't have those specific programs. So, and then let's see if we got other questions as well. So Jennifer, hey Jennifer, good to see you. She said, does the fabric catalog get deleted with the software update gets downloaded? And she said she says it's gone. So with that new supplemental file install, then it was only installing certain files for certain programs. And so if you had it and you want it back, or if you want it, reach out to customer service and they will send you the install files for the fabrics. That's actually not part of the supplemental files anymore. It's just something that has been updated, outdated. But if you want it, contact technical support. They can certainly get you that if you want it. So, and then Nini says, so the stitch is specific to the fabric or the mylar in this case. Yes. And so you could certainly use it with fabric, either one of these types of stitches. But if you stitch the mylar stitch over top of fabric, it's just going to look, you know, like a lot like a fill stitch. The whole idea is to see some of that sparkle coming through, but it would still work. And then the same thing with the vinyl applique stitch. If you stitched it with something that wasn't vinyl, it would still work. You just don't necessarily need that extra stitch is all that we're doing. So I will, let's go over and see how to create them manually, because creating them in Cut and Stitch and SFX is just a one click. So it's super easy. So if you have those programs, you can create them easily. So let's talk about creating a applique with the trapping stitch if you don't have that built in. Okay, so here's our applique for our carrot, and I'm just going to borrow my green thing from here and move it over just like that. So then we've got another carrot, right? And then I would want this to stitch first before my green, so I can send it to the back, or I can also do reordering over here in my sequence view as well. Okay, so now that vinyl applique stitch, again, like I said, it's a specific type of stitch that's built into Cut and Stitch. But if you want to add that, what you can do is you can copy and paste your same shape. So I've just copied and pasted my carrot. I have two carrots. Okay, I'm going to undo so that they're lined up again. And I'm going to change that second carrot to purple. And instead of this just being another satin stitch, I'm going to change it to a run stitch. Okay. So right now it is an applique. I have a purple and an orange applique. And so in my effects panel, my effects panel comes with Perfect Embroidery Pro. So if you don't have Perfect Embroidery Pro, look for your run stitch on your toolbar if it comes with your software. And then just click to change that to a run. So do you see how that run stitch is right on top of my satin stitch, which actually is a really cool look. I see some designers that are now doing that for just an added effect. So that's an easy way to do that. But if you want it to be inset, what I usually do is just resize it. Over here in my transform, you can resize the height and the width, but we don't know exactly what to do. But if you just make the whole thing about 15% smaller, so if I just put in 85 and then click apply, you can see that it resizes inset. Let me zoom out here. And then you can just kind of move that to adjust it. And then it looks like it still needs to be a little bit narrower in the width. And I can do that just by adjusting that there. So, and then I can center those both up. And I basically, what I've done is given myself an extra run stitch to my design. And you just want to make sure that this stitches the applique, you've put the fabric in, and then it's going to stitch that after the fabric is down. That's the thing to remember. So we're just adding that extra run stitch. But this run stitch, if you've ever used HTV in an embroidery, it rips away really easy from the satin stitches here, but it's harder to rip away from the run stitch because there's not as many points of perforation. So you can use this as a way to secure it, especially if you're using something that's not going to be ironed down. You can also fill this entire area with a fill type stitch. So I'm going to delete this one. Or actually, let's fill this. So I'm going to undo so that my resizing goes back to the size of my carrot. Okay. And so in your different software, so we have fill stitches that are motif fill stitches. So depending on your program, if you've got a motif fill stitch, so like over here in my right-hand toolbar, so my quilt embellisher, I've got all these different types of quilting stitches here. And so if I choose, say, the texture, and I choose like this diamond, you can see that it fills it with that pattern there. And so I can stitch that and it will stitch over top of the vinyl, making it even more secure. Only if you cannot fuse it. If you can fuse it, it's not going to rip out once you fuse it. So these are just tips for some, different situations if you aren't fusing the HTV. Now, if I take that one step further and I actually reduce this to, let's say, I'm going to see what 3 does. Do you see how tight that stitching is? And I need it even a little bit more. So I'm going to do 1 millimeter. Now that I could use over mylar and I could see the sparkle through that. So if you've got some types of motif stitches that you can change I'm going to make this a little bit bigger so we can kind of see the pattern. And you can see that that pattern, if I stitch that over top of the mylar, it would hold the mylar in place and not rip out. And if I was doing this, I'm going to send that to stitch first, and then I could leave my outline here. I don't need the placement and the tack down anymore, or I could just get rid of it if I just wanted the shape kind of like I have here. Okay, so that's going from, a shape to an applique, and then we converted to something that would work with mylar. Now, mylar stitches, let me zoom in here. They usually don't have a grid both directions. You can see here that it's narrow stitches that are close together, it's like a fill stitch, but it's loose in the density. So you can use your fill stitch in that manner, but we also have another fill option that I really love for this called the wave fill. And it is under your My Quilt Embellisher or either Perfect Embroidery Pro if you own either one of those. I'm sorry, wave is only in Perfect Embroidery Pro. Shape fill is what I was going to. Shape fill, you can choose a shape to fill your design. So let's choose something that we'll recognize, like let's do the circle there. And you can see how it's a circle and it radiates out. Okay, so I can move that by choosing my shape tool here. And I can move the center point so that it is going to circle from this point out. Well, look what that does to my stitches. And I kind of like that. You can see how, and so basically what's happening since my circle is here is it's creating that shape. And you can see how my center being here, but it's taking effect only in my carrot area, even though I removed my center. And then I can also select these and I can reduce this density. So let's go down to like 2 millimeters. And we can see that they get closer together. And then this is what you're getting with the mylar stitch is rows of stitching that's close together. And you also don't want an underlay through this because you don't want to see those stitches traveling. You want an edge run or an edge travel underlay for this if you are having the underlay there. So let's choose this again. And then I'm actually going to make it even closer together. Just like that. So you can see that the width or the distance between those stitches is mimicking my mylar stitch here. So this is the mylar, and then this was the one we just created with the shape. Okay. And then also in Perfect Embroidery Pro, there's one called fill stitching that you can, wave fill stitching that does this really well also. So you can create your own carrots if you want to. So, okay, so now we got 3 different types of carrots. So I'm going to change this one. Let's go and put it at plaid. So if you have special FX, you can auto convert to plaid, which I love. I think it's one of my favorite. It's so simple, but it's one of my favorites. Okay. And so if you want to know how to create plaid manually, you can go back and watch some of our past Software Success where I've done that. And then for our design here, I just took each one of my carrots and just kind of rotated it a smidge here and just created a little bit different look. And I put text for my design here. So let's add some text. So I'm going to choose my text tool, click one time on your workspace, and then type your text over here in the properties area. And I just put carrot patch. And then we're going to click apply, and I misspelled twice, but that's okay. That's a really good learning lesson. So here's my carrot patch, and oops, I misspelled. I don't have to undo. All I need to do is just go over here, add the letter that I missed, and then click apply again. So just click apply after you add that letter and it'll change it. Okay. So now from my text, I'm going to choose whatever type of text I want. So if I scroll through, I've got tons of options. Now, depending on which program you own from Dime, will be what list of text that you have. Because I own all Dime software, it puts all of my font options in one really long list that I can choose from. And so I just select the text type, click OK, and then it changes to that type of text. So, okay, so now I actually curved my text just a smidge. So with your text tool selected, there's 2 different ways to select text, okay? So with your regular text tool, look how I've got just these black squares, the diamond here, and then the rotation circles and the diamond here. But if I choose my text tool, and select the text, I've got many more little icons that do something completely different. So play with these. I like to just adjust my text by moving them around. So the double triangles will adjust the kerning. You can do the size here. You can also change the shape by adjusting here and here. You can also rotate here or resize as well. So I'm going to right mouse click and say reset, and show you one more thing you can do. Okay, so with the text tool selected, if I right mouse click, I also have envelopes. If you have built-in text, then you probably have these envelopes. So check these envelopes and then you can choose from the different shapes. And I just did one that was this curved up, and you can see how it kind of adjusts it, but I can make additional adjustments if I want, like that, just to kind of curve it under the bottom of my text here. And I'm going to make that black. And so to change the color, I just do a right mouse click on the color chip to change to that color chip. So right mouse click will change to that color chip. Okay, so now let's go do some up top. Now for up top, I did a true type text. Okay, so I'm going to still choose my text tool and add that to the workspace. And I'm going to put, I think I put locally grown. I don't remember, honestly, but that's okay. You can put whatever you want. I'm going to put farm fresh for this one and then click apply. Now, in a lot of our dime software, you have the ability to use true type text. Now, yours may not have it, but if you do, you've got this TT right here. And so you click that TT and it will change to your true type font list. And then if I look here, I've got different settings, and these settings are also based on the programs that I own. You can have satin, true type text, or artwork, or if you have cut and stitch, you can change it to bling, which is rhinestone text. Okay, so I'm going to click on my list here and just go down and look for one that maybe looks like what I want it to look like. And so here's one that is actually called Farmhouse. So, and I think that's actually pretty cute there. And I actually just put a couple of dashes before it and after it just to kind of add a little extra interest to it, just like that. Now, my font style, you may not have this because true type fonts are based on what you've downloaded and what you have. So you may not have this. So choose something similar, or you can go out and look on the internet for true type fonts that you can download and install them and have a different selection. So now for this one, I made it a little bit bigger. So I'm going to do 1 inch for my height. And let's zoom out here. And I put this one on a circle path. So over here in my type, I can choose circle and click apply. And then I can just put that right over my carrots. And then I change that color by right mouse clicking as well. And then let's just click away from that. I'm going to double click my zoom tool. And then I've got my different text here. So, and now that I've added this, I don't love this text. Okay. So, but hey, that's the beauty of designing. So maybe I can go back up. This is in my Word Art and Stitches, and it's one of my favorite cursive fonts. And then let's add one more line of text down below. So again, choose your text tool, click on the workspace. And then for this one, I'm going to say open daily and click apply. And let's choose a different font type. So I'm going to click here. I can choose from the drop-down list if I know the name, or if I click right on this window here, it'll open up my catalog. So it gives me like a little bit better idea of what I'm working with. So, and I know one of the ones that I like is actually Impress, or Swiss is what I'm looking for. We'll go with the Impress. So I kind of like that. And I'm going to change mine green. So I'm going to right mouse click on my green and move that down under my design here. Okay. So now let's make sure everything is centered. So I'm going to select my carrots and I'm going to group them together. So select your carrots, group so that they stay as selected. Okay. And then if I select everything, I can use my horizontal align to make sure that everything is aligned as I need it to be. So look at that. Isn't that cool? So what do you guys think about that? Okay, so there was our design, and I could have done, I did do locally grown now that I see that. So I was thinking that's what I'd done. And that's actually a little bit different text. That's a built-in one, not a true type font there. I recognize that one as one of the built-in ones. So, but I have my mylar carrots on the left, and I have my carrots for my HTV on the right. Now, for those of you that have used HTV, can you tell me what's wrong with my picture there? So this one right here, I am auditioning the Aurora HTV. And with Aurora, it doesn't tear away. So in reality, I don't actually have to have that extra stitch there. And so let me go over and show you how to audition your HTV, and then we will answer some questions. So I'm going to ungroup this again so I can just select this carrot here. So when you have an applique, usually over here in your properties, you'll get this little icon that pops up that's called fabric. And from this list here, if you click the options, it'll open up your fabric library. And in this main category, you have just some basic ones that you can play with. And here under the Caesar category, we have Caesar glitter colors and the Aurora and the strip flock. So I can select and see what it's going to look like with that glitter HTV in my design. So that is auditioning to see what it's going to look like. If you own that color HTV, you can see what it's going to look like before you ever even get to the machine. So which made me want to change my color of my outline there. So cool, right? Okay, so let's see if we've got any questions before we finish up. And so I'm trying to back up and get to where we left off. And so Vicky says, will our older program downloads that we had for ETS as the base mess up the new update ETS? No, I'm setting up a new computer. No, it won't. So that's actually a really good question, Vicky. So when you install the latest version of the embroidery toolshed, it just gets you up to date everywhere. And so if you update it on a computer that already has embroidery toolshed, then it's basically just going to bring you to the most current version so that it will work in the same way. And you'll get, your updates and, everything will work as expected. If you are installing it on a new computer, then you can download and install the latest version, and then you can activate your programs in there. And then, you would both be on the same one, but it's not going to matter if you download and start with the latest version or if you're updating the old one. Either way, you're not going to have any issues whatsoever. So, and then Jennifer said, what size run stitch? I think she's talking about the run stitch for the trapping stitch. So Jennifer, think of it like this. So every single time your needle penetrates the run stitch, that is a point to where, that HTV could break. So a little bit longer stitch, like a 3 millimeter, is a really good stitch length for that. You don't want to put them too close together. Like if you do like a 1.5 millimeter, then you're basically creating a lot of perforations. And so just by doing it at a moderate distance, it's just going to give you that extra amount of hold. So, and then Harriet Ann Palmer, she asked the same question. So that same kind of instance with the length of the run stitch. So you guys were really paying attention. So I can't believe I missed that. So thank you for asking that question. Yeah. So 3 millimeter is a good one, but you don't have to stick to that. What I'm showing you in the software is me designing and helping you learn the features. But just because of a setting that I do doesn't mean that is 100% the gospel. Like, play around with it. That's what I do, is I play until I get the results that I'm wanting. Certainly asking someone and knowing a starting point is a great place to start, but you can also, make those adjustments, because, really what I'm doing is helping you learn the features, but then you are going to fine tune, like what you like in your design and how you like your designs to behave. So, so those are really good questions though, for sure. So I was just looking for some others here. So Amy Drown Harris says, if you were to use clear thread, would it allow the mylar to show up better? Okay, so I do think it would. However, I find it challenging to stitch regular sewing with invisible thread. And so running your invisible thread in your embroidery machine might pose a challenge, because the speed at which your embroidery machine runs, you might experience a lot of breakages and things like that. But certainly, you definitely would see, I think, more shine because you don't have the color. But the nice thing about your embroidery thread is the iridescent color of the mylar actually kind of takes on the color of your thread and even your base fabric if you've got a really dark base fabric. So that is mindful. Be mindful of that as well. So, and which actually brings up another really good point for doing mylar. So, and then how do I put a foreign language text in the punctuation? Ooh, Dara, that is a really good question. So what I would recommend doing is using your character map for your computer. So that's how you access those characters in from other languages easily on any computer. And so if you access your character map, you can then copy it and paste it. And I'll go back over there and show you that as well. So I'll talk about double layer mylar and the character map. So let's do the character map first. So on Windows, if you just search character map, and I'm pretty sure that Mac has something similar, but it's probably not just character. So if you just search character map and then open up this, it looks like this when it opens. Okay. And so if you need, say, this E here, then you can select it and then you can say select and it puts it here and then you can copy it. And then when I go over here to my software and choose my text, I'm going to choose this one. And then let's put this E, even though we know it's not correct, right? So I'm deleting that E, and all I'm going to do is paste that E. And you can see how it doesn't look like my normal font. But if that font has that E, then it will put that E on the screen for you. And so if I hover over any of my text, you see that flyout menu there, and it tells you every letter that is digitized, and that letter is one of them. And so when I click apply, you can see down here on my text that it added that E with the characters that I needed. So if I do that again, so search for your character map and open that. And then choose the letter that you need. Like, let's say you need, this O with an accent. Click select and then copy it. That's what this one does here. And then just close this out. And then I'm going to put that here. I'm going to just paste it. So you can either do paste or Control V. And then when I click apply, it'll change that letter over there. So cool. Hopefully that's something that helps a lot of you. That's a question that I don't normally get. And so that's a really good lesson. Okay, so now just because that bugs me that it's not right, I'm just going to do my undo key, put it back to normal because that's me. And then now let's talk about mylar. Okay, so because mylar picks up the color of the thread and the fabric, let's say you wanted to stitch this carrot on a black shirt. Here's a tip. If you do 2 layers of this stitching and put the mylar in between it, then it's not going to pull so much from the black. So what you can do is for your stitches, I would just copy it and paste them. So if I select this mylar stitch here and copy it, paste it, okay, and so if I slide this out of the way, you can see I've got 2 copies of it. And then I would change the direction on one of them so that it is opposite of this one. And I'm going to leave these separate so that we can see both of them. And we're messing up our design here, but hey, that's okay. That's why we like software, right? Because we can fix anything that we mess up, right? And I'm going to put these side by side so that you can see. And then I'm going to zoom in. Okay. And so you can see that both of these are running the same direction. So if I choose my shape tool, you can see that yellow line. I can actually pull it so that it is the opposite angle. So instead of 45, 135. And then when I right mouse click or click enter, then I've got stitches that are going to crisscross. So now whenever I stitch a mylar design, if I stitch this layer first, then put my mylar, it's going to kind of hide my black fabric a little bit. And then I would stitch this layer over top of it, and my mylar would be sandwiched in between. So now if I were going to do this, I would not move it off to the side. I would just copy, paste, and I pasted it right on top of itself. And then let's zoom in. And with that one still selected, I can just click my shaped tool and then change that direction so that it is right on top of my other design there. So then now I've got my 2 layers stacked on top of each other rather than having to line them back up. So hopefully that makes sense there. So, okay. So let's see if we have any questions before we sign off. And so so Janet says she's late today. No worries, Janet. So we are finishing up, but you can watch the replay as always. And for those of you that are new, Software Success is on our YouTube channel that lives there. You can watch past episodes and find new episodes there. So if you go to our YouTube channel, Designs and Machine Embroidery, and look for playlist, and you can find Software Success, where they're all in one folder. So okay, so then Paula says, is there a chance you can do a tutorial on downloading and installing fonts? Ooh, let me write that down, Paula. Absolutely. I'll incorporate that into another Software Success. So downloading and installing fonts will do. Thank you for that suggestion. So I love it when you guys suggest. So just looking for any other question marks here so that I can answer those before we go. What about mylar and metallic thread? Ooh, that's a good one. So this little thing here, that actually is gold metallic and the mylar. So yes, you can use them together for a little additional sparkle. So a lot of people use mylar in lieu of metallic thread, but you can use them both together. So really great question, Nini. I love that. So all right. It looks like I think I've got everything covered. I'm just looking for the question marks to make sure that we are good. And if I missed anything, you guys know how to find me. And then Dara, we answered that. So that's kind of where I left off. So I think I've got them all. So sometimes it's hard to keep up because whenever they're going by pretty quickly, but I think we're covered. And so also the other thing I do like to do, and I'll share that with you as well. So let me head over back to my presentations here. And so just a reminder, the features that I was using. So the auto vinyl applique feature is from the cut and stitch software. The auto mylar is from the Special FX. But then I was using those custom fills like the shape fill and the wave fill, and also applique features. And those are the programs that have those as well. And so we do have built-in text features in those programs you see there: Embroidery Toolshed Plus, PEP, WordArt, My Quilt Embellisher, Vintage, and Patch and Applique Maker. And then the True Type font list you can access in WordArt, PEP, Cut and Stitch, and Special FX. So you can see how owning these programs together, you have features from different ones, but they all work together as one. And so I like to show you guys, if you own it, you could click it, but then if you are creating separately, then showing you the programs that you could do separately. So make sure that you join me again for Software Success. So next time, I actually am going to coordinate with Eileen. So you guys know that we have Software Success first and third Tuesday, and then Eileen is on Between Friends every Thursday. Well, on March the 6th, she's got a really special program plan that relates to applique. And so I'm going to be talking about applique, and I'll give you guys more detail for that. And because applique is such a broad topic, maybe I can incorporate the downloading and installing the text, because we can use some of those True Type fonts that we install for applique. So I'll do that on the 4th. I'll also incorporate the True Type text downloading and installing fonts so that you can use some different types of text for applique. How about that? So I get the request in and the topic in together. So all right, and you guys see a promo for that whenever we get closer to March the 4th. Now our software. So if you don't own any of the software that I showed today, you can try them. and play with them in the shopping cart, just like I demonstrated. If you do want to purchase something that you saw, check your local dealer. I always urge you to go check out your local dealer, support your local dealer or your favorite dealer. They may not be immediately local, but support your brick and mortar store that is your favorite. And they can always help you with the software, and we've got tons of free education as well. If you don't have a store locally, then certainly check our website for any specials that we have on any of the software. So hopefully you guys learned something today, and I will see you guys back here in a couple of weeks. If you need me between now and then, find us on our Facebook group called Dime Inspiration Software Users. And I am over there, and so is our education team, answering questions that can help you. So make sure that you check us out over there. If you haven't already, join the group. And so until we have another software success, everyone, thank you for being here with me, and I will see you guys next time.